Hi guys, Mr. Y here, obviously with an explanation today on the brass range extension exercise. Brass players, I normally do this starting in about 7th grade. You may be getting it earlier if you're a little bit more advanced, if you're in jazz band or you're doing an ISMA solo that requires these high notes. But normally it's about 7th grade that we do it. Basically, the brass range extension is a long tone exercise extending us into the higher register to kind of get your lips and your airstream used to playing those high notes. Okay, so you'll notice number 1, for instance, says very slowly. Okay, where it says slowly, but it should be played very slowly. These are basically long tones, and all the notes in any one of these little phrases are under one slur too. So you don't use your tongue here; you just use your tongue on the very first note. Everything else is a slur. The first 2 notes here you can see, of course, are a concert F and a concert B flat. Trumpets for you guys, it's a G and a C. So those are both the same fingerings. That is no valves or trombones for you guys, first position. Okay, and then you go up one more notch. If you don't know some of these higher note fingerings, by the way, I did write in fingerings and also some slide positions, trombones for you guys if you need them. Okay. So again, what you're going to do is you're going to start on that first note, play slurred up to the next note, and then up to the final high note there in this case. You can see there's a fermata over it. That means you're basically going to hold it, okay? And you can decide if you want to hold it for as long as you can or just hold it for a long time. But really kind of, like I said, we're kind of getting your lips used to playing those high notes. 2 things for high notes. Remember, you're going to make your air go faster. That's the important part. Number 2, you're going to tighten your lips a little bit. Actually, I'm going to add a third for this too. As you go up in the scale, please make sure not to press hard on the mouthpiece. In fact, what I like to do is I kind of like to think about pulling away the instrument just a teeny bit. You can't do it too much, of course, because you have to keep your lips sealed and the airstream steady and all that kind of stuff. You can't be leaking air out the side. But if you do, if you kind of picture backing off a little bit, that'll help you not press harder on your lips. You don't want to press harder. That's not going to help. It'll help temporarily, but it will hurt in the long run. You won't be able to get as high or have as much endurance. Okay? So, at the very beginning here, like I said, starting on the concert F, I'm just going to play the first 1, 2, 3. And you would hold that note for as long as you want to, okay? The second one just goes up one more note. And again, you would hold that one for a long time. Make sure you get a good sound on all these, of course, too. And you probably don't want to go ahead to the next phrase until you've really mastered doing the first phrase. So at first, you might just want to do those first 3 notes, the first little phrase there. Okay. Once you get really comfortable with that high note, then go on to the next one and add one more note to it. Okay. And doing it methodically, a little bit every day for weeks or months or years is really the key to doing this, to getting good at stuff like this. Okay. I'm going to start on the second line. And again, you hold that one, and the very last one here in number 1. You will find as you get to those higher notes, you don't use as much air anymore, but you do use more air speed, of course. So that's the way that works. Okay. If you wanted to, you could extend number 1 by adding more notes onto the top. If you don't know the fingerings, you can look them up in your book, of course, but just to do the last one, quickly to show you. Or maybe even, or even that double high B flat or double high C trumpets. Some of you guys may be able to get up there eventually. Okay? Okay, going on to number 2. Number 2 is basically an E flat concert scale, or I should say the first 5 notes of the E flat concert scale, and then back down, and then it goes up one notch. And the idea here is to kind of extend your range and your comfort with playing those high notes all in a row. Okay, so number 2, 2, 3. measure phrase is one big long slur. You don't use your tongue at all except for on the very first note. Also, be careful of your key signature here. Okay, you've got one more flat than you did in number one. Trumpets, it's B flat for you guys, first valve. Okay, euphoniums, trombones, tubas, it's A flat for you guys, which is also first valve euphonium and tubas. Trombones, it's the third position A instead of the second position A. Okay, so be careful about that. Number three just kind of extends us up into a little more range up here. There's three notes on a slur this time, so. That just takes us up there a little bit. Again, you don't want to go on to more of this before you've mastered the first part. Okay, start out really easy on those first couple of phrases. Once you've got the first one down and then maybe the second one down, go to the third and fourth, then maybe go on to number two. And once you've really got number two locked down, do number one and number two then every day. Once you got number one and number two locked down, then add number three to it. That's a really good way to do it. If you have any questions, of course, drop me an email or see me in class. I'll be glad to help you out any way I can. Thanks very much. Good luck.